Well, what can I say? I sat down to watch this regular show thinking, finally, a show that acknowledges that it's gonna be boring. And I was actually pretty excited for it. But they lied! Seriously, you can't go 2 seconds without some funky razzmatazz going on. So the show focuses around these two totally gnarly dudes, man. There's this too cool for school blue Jay Mordecai, and his mentally incapacitated friend Rigby the raccoon. Anyways, these two schmucks work as park groundskeepers and are always under scrutiny from their boss Benson, an ill-tempered walking gumball machine. Hey, I'm not gonna question it, so neither should you. So yeah, that sounds pretty regular, right? Watching a bird and a raccoon mow lawns all day is just about as ordinary as it gets in cartoon land, huh? Well, think again, Sally! These jokers couldn't tie a shoe without starting the apocalypse! Sheesh, I bet Goofy would be a more dependable gardener than these two. At least when he burns the place to the ground, he'll do it in style. Well, one thing's for sure, they like flailing their arms around and screaming at each other a lot. That's pretty much what half of the show is about. This is why I prefer cartoons before we knew how to talk! So what's my opinion of the show? I hate it! How's that for a regular answer, huh? Now if you'll excuse me, I hear a bunch of angry fanboys knocking on my door, so I'm gonna go take cover underneath a sofa. Well, here we go again with a disgruntled review about a waste of celluloid. And what's more of a waste of celluloid than Johnny Test? A stupid show about some pretty kid and his stupid dog and his relatives going on adventures together. Not to be confused with Johnny Quest, another stupid show about some pretty kid and his stupid dog going on adventures with his relatives. Allow me to sum up the show in one sentence. There's this bratty dweeb named Johnny Test who lives with his dorky sisters, mom, dad, and talking dog, and who gives a Ripville, where the dorky sisters built a lab in the attic, and Johnny always breaks in and messes around with the inventions. Gee, that doesn't sound familiar. And there's this evil little troll named Bling Bling Boy who has a crush on dorky sister number 2, who isn't interested in the slightest, because she's got the hots for neighborhood hung Gil, and somehow Area 51 and the government are involved with them somehow. I don't know, I couldn't keep track. But no matter what over-the-top scenario comes their way, Johnny and his stupid dog always manage to outsmart it. Why? Because they're totally cool dudes. I am so sick of cartoons revolving around totally cool dudes. They aren't funny! Hey man, we gotta go skateboarding. Not right now, man. I gotta finish this pizza. Yo, I learned this rockin' tune on my Ibanez. Let's use words like wicked and radical like they haven't been out of style for 20 years. Ah!
In other words, this particular cartoon is not suitable for my palate.
Hey Disney, what's going on with ya? First you make a show about kids with shapes for heads, then you buy 4,000 superheroes, and now you make this show. I had to check to make sure I wasn't watching regular show again. What happened to Disney cartoons looking like Disney cartoons? You're even changing the look of your old Toons. Oi! And I see this Gravity Falls is made by a guy who wrote for Fish Hooks and Flapjack. Wasn't aware that writing for mediocre SpongeBob ripoffs was considered merit enough to get your own show. But hey, what do I know? Anyway, Gravity Falls is about these twins that form a straight guy and Jim Carrey duo, and they're spending the summer in this weird little town with their weird great uncle, known as Grunkle in idiot speak, Stan. As you can see, Stan is pretty much Carl Fredricksen if Carl were taller, less charming, less pleasant, and liked to scam idiots. Stan watches over the kids, and on the side puts them to work in his tourist trap full of mutilated animals. Dipper comes across his weird book and starts noticing weird things happening around town. Such as a bunch of gnomes wanting to make his sister into their queen. Poltergeists with weird fursuit fetishes. And kid psychics trying to cut people's tongues out with scissors. Did I mention this is a Disney toon meant for kids? Anyway, we're still early on in this show's run, so I ain't got much to say, except you crazy kids will enjoy your crazy mystery shows. I bet the real mystery of this show is where the heck are the censors?
You know, there comes a time in every man's life where he finds himself asking, why? Why do things happen? What causes some of the strange and awful events in life to play out? I've been around for a long time, and I've seen more than a few of these moments. And one of these moments has a name. SpongeBob SquarePants. A show about a stinking sponge. And this thing has been running non-stop since 1999, with roughly 8 seasons, over 100 episodes, a movie, and God only knows how many specials. Seriously, how the heck did a sponge end up so stinking popular? Did kids just decide they were bored with regular animals and made this freaking escapee from the sink super special and cool? Anyway, moving on, SpongeBob is a sponge who lives in a pineapple under the sea. No, neither I nor the people who made this were smoking anything, though I really wish I was. We follow SpongeBob's crazy life and misadventures with his friend, the idiot starfish Patrick, the underwater squirrel Sandy, a miserable squid called Squidward, and his greedy crustacean boss, Mr. Krabs. SpongeBob is more his own enemy than anything, given the closest thing he has to a real antagonist is a plankton. Anyway, the show has been a Nickelodeon juggernaut for over a decade now. Despite barely anybody who originally worked on it being around anymore, the company seems determined to squeeze as much out of the poor little freak as it can, and that includes making it practically the only thing on Nickelodeon half the time. All this from a freaking sponge. What next? A cartoon about a dish rag? You know what I also can't stand? That gumball show. I mean... So while I'm on death row, I managed to catch this show about some kid named Chris Thorndike who goes on adventures with his talking animal friends. It wasn't until later that I found out the show is called Sonic X, meaning this Chris kid ain't the main character. I don't know why he gets so much screen time. He's a whiny little pantload of a kid who acts like his life is hell because his folks ain't there for him. Except he's rich, still has a grandpa and servants who spend time with him, and as we later see, his parents make time for him. Yeah, real tough life. Wish my life could be so hard. So Chris teams up with Sonic, a Speedy Gonzales ripoff, and they go looking for Dragon Ball-like MacGuffins. And accompanying them is Sonic's best buddy Tails, idiot rival Knuckles, who's meant to be an echidna, but I don't see it. His stalker Amy, and her brainless sidekick Cream, with her brainless sidekick Cheese. Yeesh, the puns! Anyway, they're all trapped on Earth, along with the evil Dr. Eggman, who's about as lame as his name suggests. Wasn't he called Dr. Robotnik one time? Whatever. I guess overall the show could be better if Sonic actually did stuff instead of lounging all day, and Chris wasn't shoehorned in. I gotta wonder why they didn't just call this train wreck The Amazing Adventures of Chris and just be done with it already, 'cause it sure as hell ain't about the hedgehog.